When love stopped being love. From the outside, their house looked like a picture. A white fence, blooming flower beds, a neat green lawn. Neighbors often said, "Now that's a perfect couple." And Lydia just smiled in response, because lying was easier than explaining the truth. Her husband, Mark, knew how to charm people. He spoke softly, joked easily, brought her flowers, especially after those nights when she couldn't get out of bed because of the pain. He didn't shout. He whispered. And his whisper scared her more than a scream ever could. "You made me do it. I just wanted you to listen. You know I love you, right? Sometimes you just push me too far." That was how their fights began and ended. With fear, tears, and forgiveness. She left him, then came back. Each time believing, this time he'll change. Sometimes he really did change. For a week, a month. He gave gifts, made promises, talked about a new beginning. And Lydia believed him. Because she still remembered the man he used to be. They had met in the spring, the kind of spring that smelled of blooming trees and new beginnings. Lydia worked in a small cafe near the station, and he came in just to buy coffee. He smiled at her, and for a moment she forgot to breathe. His name was Mark, tall, confident, with a voice that carried quiet power. He looked straight into her eyes and said, "I've never seen eyes like yours. What color are they?" "Gray," she said. "No, they're the color of a morning that hasn't decided if it'll be sunny." She laughed, and that's how it all began. The first months were a dream. He met her after work, brought her flowers for no reason, left little notes. "You're my heir. The day doesn't start without you." He took her to the movies, to rooftops to see the city lights, on midnight walks where they talked about everything. Their dreams, their future, the house he promised to build for her. He seemed perfect. A man who kept his word, who cared, who loved. When he proposed, she cried from happiness. Everyone said, "Lydia, you're so lucky. He's like someone from a movie." And she believed them. The first warning signs came quietly. He started calling her 10 times a day, just to know where she was. At first, it felt like care. Then, control. He didn't like her meeting friends. They're a bad influence. He didn't like when she laughed with anyone else. "It makes me uncomfortable." She explained, apologized, promised to be more careful. Then came the first real fight. He snapped over something small, a broken cup, a missed call. Afterward, he cried, begged forgiveness, on his knees. "I don't know what got into me. I just love you too much." And she forgave him. Every time. Until one day, he hit her. Not hard. By accident. He was horrified. Hugged her. Whispered, "I'm a monster. I swear it'll never happen again." And it didn't, for a few weeks. Then it happened again. He learned where to strike so it wouldn't show. He learned what words broke her fastest. And still, he said, "I just want you to be mine, only mine." And she thought, maybe that's what love looks like. Everything changed one autumn evening. Her sister dropped by unexpectedly. Lydia was in the kitchen, holding a cup with both hands so they wouldn't tremble. Her sister saw the bruise on her neck, then another, just under her collar, and she understood everything. "Oh God, Lydia, who did this?" Lydia didn't answer. She just started crying. And for the first time, she didn't hide her tears. The next day, Mark was gone. Her family had come and taken her away. She didn't resist. She was hollow inside, like a house after a fire. For months, she couldn't sleep. Every sound made her flinch. She hid her hands under the blanket at night, as if to protect herself. She stayed silent, for a long time, until one day, during a therapy session, she heard words that finally unlocked her chest. "You weren't guilty. You survived." And she took her first deep breath in years. A year passed. Lydia lived by the sea now. She painted, not for anyone, just to bring color back into her life. There were sunflowers on her windowsill, and soft music in the house. Sometimes she caught herself laughing again, freely, honestly. Sometimes she still dreamed of Mark, of his voice. But in those dreams, she always walked away and didn't look back. One evening, As the sun melted into the ocean, she walked along the shore. A young couple passed by, laughing, holding hands. Lydia watched them and smiled. She knew that love does exist. But real love doesn't hit, doesn't break, doesn't demand fear. Real love begins the moment you choose yourself. And in that moment, she realized, freedom is also a kind of love.